Hello to everyone. I'm Andrea Menghini from Jammox Support and Trim team, and today I will present you the surface and volume functionality from XPAD Ultimate. So, starting to talking about XPAD Ultimate. XPAD Ultimate is our field solution that allows us to work directly on field with the GNSS, TPS, robotic functionality, bathymetry, surface and volume calculation, locators, automation in routing, and other functionality. So directly on field, we have several applications that we can use. Talking about the surface and volume module, this module allows the creation of the surfaces and the volume calculation according to different mode for the surface and the volumes too. Starting from the first part of the starting from the annex, the first example of the presentation, we will import a DTM and then create the surface directly from the measured points using also the some contour line. Then we can calculate the contour line, create and export the report for the surface calculation, perform the stakeout of some points, then at the end calculate the volume and generate the report also for the volume calculation. If you have any question, please write me in chat and we will reply. I will reply at the end of the presentation. Okay, so this is the first interface of the software. The models of the Ultimate, as you can see, are different ribbon that you can choose directly from the upper black bar. But I will directly share with you the live connection to the XPAD Ultimate software. So this is our software interfaces. Here I can, of course, import or create several jobs. What I will do now is to import directly the job from a XPAD 365 platform. So our platform that allows to manage also the jobs that we performed in field. I will convert also this file from a previous Ultimate version. And as you can see there, after importing this file, after import the GFT file, that is a proprietary file for XPAD Ultimate software, we will have all the ribbon to directly analyze the job, perform the survey, stake out, COGO functionality, but also surface and volume. Here, what we will do for this example, we will create directly here the surface. Let me before show you the data that we imported. So we have several points also with a perimeter line, also some break line that we will use to create the surface. Let me also rotate in this file into 3D just to show you all the different data. Now we will move back to the surface module, and here directly the software asks us two different questions. Okay, tools. You want to import directly here the XF or landing XML data, so surface already created from other software that you can use directly on field also for the stakeout, or to overlap this data to the previous data. Or you can directly create here the surface. So add, and here we need to select some different functionality, some different properties for the surface. First of all, we need to enter the surface name. I can call it also surface. Then style, two different style. Wireframe, so in that case we will see only the lines of the triangles, or the shade. Color. Here we have different colors that we can apply to the surface. Original, so it means that the surface will have the same color of the layer selected. By elevation terrain, of course, the customization will be different colors from the terrain, so from the lowest point of the data imported to the highest point. Surface, here we can select a singular color, so directly a color from the color palette or by elevation C. So in that case, if we manage the data, so if the data has already absolute coordinates, the elevation will be considered referring to the elevation from the sea level. And just to show you, for example, surface color, here we have the possibility to select the surface color from the color palette. We have several colors that we can apply to the surface. After selecting the color, we can move to next. And also here we have different method to directly select the points. What we can do first, we can select the mode. So manual, it means that we can select point by point and line to directly create the surface. Or another possibility, the second possibility, is automatic. Also here we introduce several tools to create the surface. And let's see what we can do here. We can, for example, select points, load all the points in case you need to use all the points for the surface calculation, select point from table, select point from CAD, or delete all the points. If you want to select the points from table, as you can see there, we can directly move to the topographic points table and select one by one the points, or tool, we can also select here by different selection rules. For example, using the attribute of the points, that can be name, code, layers, and type. So also here, the customization of XPath Ultimate allows you to work directly with several data and customize also the import of the points that we want to use, for example, for the surface calculation. Okay. So this means that if we have 1,000 on points, this functionality allows to easily work also with a point selection. Other possibility is to select directly the point from CAD, and here we can select point one by one using the selection area, or in case you need to unselect the point, you will also find here the possibility to unselect all in case you select some wrong point, or directly we can move back and load all the points. This is the easiest tools that we have. And as you can see there, we imported all the 158 points. Then we can also assign to the surface creation a breakline or a boundary line. What does it mean? The breakline is a line that in particular case is a polyline that we can use to create a surface contour. So it means that is a line that the software will use for the direction of the surface. And here we can directly zoom in inside the visualization and select the line. This can be line or polyline. Better if you have a polyline, because we will select with a single click the entire polyline for the breakline. Then after selected these two lines that you can see there, we can directly select OK. So two break lines are already selected. Now we can select the boundary line, so the perimeter of the surface. The breakline and the boundary line must be predefined before the surface creation. So it means that we must enter before the surface creation the polylines. And this can be also created. We can also create this from the CAD functionalities. I will also show you then from the CAD menu. Here we need only to select the contour, so the perimeter of the surface, and select OK. So now we already selected all the parameters to create the surface. What we can do next, we can just select Upset. Here the software will show you a preview of the surface that we can of course navigate in 2D or in 3D. Or if the data is already referenced. So if the points are already georeferenced, we can directly select it from the maps. And from the maps, of course, we can also select several online maps or server maps in case also you create a connection with a server map. Or directly from the CAD, we can move back to the CAD and visualize it in 3D. Other possibility that we have here is directly to swap some triangles in case the triangles were wrong created. Directly select the triangles. So it means we will change the direction of the triangles based on the 3 points from which the triangles were created. Another possibility that we have here, of course, is to select data, and here we can choose some settings or report. What does it mean, settings? Of course, here we have the settings that we used for the surface creation. And what we can do, simple, we can change the color setting, upset it. The surface will be recalculated and then, of course, also adjusted in the job. Another possibility that we have from settings menu, we can select the settings. Of course, here we have also the possibility to change visualization from a shade to wireframe, or again, change the color style from original by elevation, surface, or by elevation from the sea and not from the terrain. Another possibility is instead to use the contour lines. So it means that the software allows also to create the contour lines directly from the surface creation menu. Okay, now control line step means that we can choose the steps, the range of the contour line. So for example, every 2 meters. And then we can also select the contour line color type. So for example, red, in that case, it will be also easy to visualize from our menu. Accept. Automatically, the software will also create the contour lines for the current job. Instead, we can also, select settings, again, contour line, and we can choose a different range for a contour line step. The software will take a few seconds more also to increase the quality of the contour line. So, I mean, the range of the contour line. Then back on data, and here we can directly create the report for a current surface calculation. So report, and here we can select 2 different report type. So the first line, we can directly click on the arrow and we can select surface summary. So it's a summary report that is not complete. And we can also choose if you want to show of the points or not from this visualization. Then the software is starting to create the report, and here we can select different formats to directly export or directly share this report from to other company or to for example to customer. So the report can be exported in the different report type: ASCII format, Excel CSV, Excel XML, PDF document, or HTML format. So the last 2 formats are formats that can be directly visualizable also for the current device. For example, I can select PDF document, and here the software allows you to directly export, for example, this PDF document from the device or to cloud. We can export the report in the storage area of the XPath 365 or directly on the chat of 365. So that means that if you already have a chat for surveyors in your company, you can directly export this report in the chat, like for example WhatsApp chat, but for surveyors, or in the storage area. Other possibility is that we can have is to share directly the file or open the file. Open the file will open the file directly using the PDF viewer application of the device. Sharing the file, here we have several tools based also on the apps that we already have on your device. So it means that we can also share on Google Drive, through Gmail, 2 mega or other server for the mailing or for the cloud application. I will directly open this PDF to show you how we can visualize this data. Accept. Here I have, for example, a PDF viewer. I can select always open with this format or directly using other PDF viewer. So here what we have is the, of course, I enter it here, I customized it here, the report with my name, so Andrea Menghini, plus the logo of the GeoMax Academy. The surface, in that case, the surface name, I call it surface, but you can, of course, the chain name will be different according to the name that you will enter for the project. Then we have the project info here, and then we can also visualize the point position and the contour line, and also the colorization of the surface, plus also the project name, so the name of the project of GeoJob. In that case, the date is the current for today, also for with the date and time, area in 2D and 3D, and elevation, minimum elevation, maximum elevation. What is the difference between a summary report and a complete report? Let's move back and select the second option. Here we have, of course, data, report. The second option is complete report. Again, here we can visualize or not in the report the points. In that case, we can directly select or unselect to show the points, plus also to select and unselect the point name. In case you have this option, this last option, point name, we can visualize only this option with a complete surface report, just because we'll have different information from the report side. I can select point name just to show you all the functionality that we have here. Okay, and again, the software will create the preview of the report, and then we can select the report type. ASCII, CSV, XML, PDF, and HTML format. Again, I can select PDF format and show you in real time the result. Open. And here we'll open again with a PDF viewer that I have here. So again, the first part is quite similar. So we have the name of the surveyor that I customized from the report, from settings report. Academy logo, plus also the information of the project. So similar that we already have in the preview, in the previous report side. And then all the points, all the vertices from the surface creation, with the point name, with the coordinates of each triangles of the surface. As you can see there, for each triangle, we will have the report for the 3 vertices with the coordinates, and also with the 2D and 3D area. Plus, at the end of the report, this is a very complete report with all the information that we can create. Okay, let's move to the end. And here we have the result of the total surface in 2D and in 3D. So this depends on your needs. If you need only a summary report, you can create a summary report, or you can create a complete report with all the information from the surface. Okay, let's move back. I can also save this report in my device. Again, automatically the software will export this report in the webinar site export folder, just to give you the entire path of the data that we are saving. Accept. Export file is completed. So I will find then this file also in the device memory in the export folder for this current job. Okay, then of course we'll have also the possibility to delete the current surface, or we can directly close it and move back. Now in the surface menu, in the surface ribbon, we have also the surface that we have just created. Of course, we can enter also other surface calculation. For example, surface 2. We can choose again other different visualization according to the one that we already selected. For example, region. Next. Again, here I can select the same option, but I just want to show you that all the surface will be created in the same, that you will find all the surface created in the same menu. Accept. Now I can also close it, and here we have the two surfaces created, of course, with a different name. Also the report, of course, here we have all the points, but we can also customize it to have different result. And all the surface will be listed here in the surface ribbon. Another possibility that we have here for surface is to select the small arrow that you will find here on the right side. And clicking on this arrow, we can visualize the properties, view the surface created, delete the surface, move directly to the stakeout of the surface, export in DXF format, for example, for the software solution, duplicate the surface in case, of course, you need to create a different calculation, and then directly modify only the properties, move up or down in case of course, you want to have a different list of the surface created. If I move, for example, here, again, same option, view, we will move to the visualization that we already seen before after the creation of the surface. And again, here we can directly create, we can change the settings, or we can create the report. And these are the tools that we have to create the surface. Of course, what we can do to customize our surface is, for example, to move to the CAD software side. And here we have also the drawing functionality. The drawing functionality allows us also to directly, for example, create a contour line that we will use then in the surface creation, or create the break line. And here are listed all the different layers that we have. I can also switch off the two surface from the project manager menu. And here I can, for example, draw a polyline. So in case you want to also to customize the different tools for the surface creation, okay. And here we have also the option to close my polyline. So let's move back to the surface menu, surface 2, properties. Sorry, let's create another surface here. Surface 3. Okay. It's okay with the same color, but with different colors as the previous created. All the points, accept. In that case, I will select a different boundary. I will select the boundary from the polylines created from the CAD menu. Okay, accept. And as you can see there, we can quickly create a different surface and modify also the data directly from the other functionality of the software. And of course, the result will be different. We have here the result in 2D and 3D. Then, after created the surfaces, we can directly move, for example, to the stakeout. Let's move to the first surface created. I can also delete the second surface. I will select the surface and then select stakeout. Now we directly move to the stakeout option. So it means that if you are there, so let me change the volume in order to not disturbing you. So here we directly have the visualization of the surface here. So if I click measure, I have also the stored point for the surface takeout. And I can directly visualize also here the data using 2D or 3D visualization. Also manual visualization to visualize my position, but also the surface. Another possibility is visualize the data as a section directly from the 3D visualization. And this allows also to better understand in some cases the data that we already created. For example, can be also a linear surface, and then here we can easily understand the position of the points. Or directly according to the map, so something that we already seen before. Okay, so easily and very practical to understand. Other possibility that we have to stake out directly the data is, for example, here from the CAD menu, we can just select, in that case, the points, and the software directly show us the possibility to stake out. In that case, the points, or the break line, or the object created. Another possibility to stake out the surface instead is from the stake out menu. And here we have different options also dedicated to stake out surfaces, so similar to ones we already did before, or for the size slope. So in that case, if you create an excavation surface, also for the volume calculation, we can easily stake out also the size slope or the size slope automatically. Let's move instead to the volume calculation. Just to quickly summarize what we already seen, we already seen how we can find the surface and volume menu, how we can import or create the surface directly in the surface menu of XPAD Ultimate. Here, customization for the surface creation with the name, the style, and the colors. Then, method to visualize the style of the surfaces, the colorization of the surfaces according to the colors from the layer, colors by elevation or terrain elevation, surfaces with a colors that we can decide we can choose from the color palette, or by elevation from the sea. Then manually enter the points or automatically enter the points to better define also the point for the surface calculation. Using points, so what points we want to use, using the table, using the CAD, or using the automatically point selection, break lines and contour lines that we can use to customize also the surface report, and then at the end, how we can visualize the data and how we can also stake out the data created. Plus also the report calculation, the contour line calculation. Okay, let's move to the volume calculation, and I will show you in real time also this calculation method. Okay, as you can see there, in the surface menu, we have two different surfaces created. It's a must to have a surface created or imported in the software in order to create also the volume calculation. So here we can directly move to volume calculation, and we must enter here a calculation method. What are the methods that we have to calculate the volume from XPAD Ultimate software? We have several applications that we can use. Reference elevation means that the volume will be is calculated between the surface and the reference elevation that we can directly enter. Reference point, instead, the volume will be calculated between surface and a point that we can select from table or from the CAD, or directly we can digit in the ribbon, in the cell. Stockpile and pit calculation. In that case, the calculation will be the volume will be calculated between a surface and a plane the surface. So it means that, for example, for excavation can be the low level of the excavation, and here we can create the surface between the two. Reference level, here we can directly enter 3 points in order to create a level, so a plane. According to that, we can create also the volume between the two. so between the surface and this plane. By thickness, here we can directly enter the value of the thickness in order to calculate the volume between the surface created and the thickness that we can choose. Surface difference, in that case, we need two different surfaces, and the volume will be calculated only in the intersection part of these two surfaces. So let's move, for example, from a reference point. Here we need to select the surfaces. So here, of course, we must enter before, or we must create before a surfaces in order to create also the volume. And here we can select from the two different surfaces that we already created from the software side, surface or surface tree. I can select next. And here the software directly asks me the points that we want to visualize, that we want to use for a volume calculation. I can directly tip here, enter here, digit here the point's name, or I can select the arrow, and the software suggests me how we can use a point selection from CAD, topography point, reference point, or add point. If I select, for example, topography point, of course, here I have the list of all the points, but in some cases it will be also hard to understand which point we want to use in case we didn't recognize it before. The second option that I strictly suggest you is to use CAD visualization. And here will be easily to find directly the points. For example, we can use a points here, more or less is in a medium height between the highest and the lowest part of the surfaces. Then here we have the result of the point selected, plus also the elevation of this reference point. Next, this is a volume. This is the label of the volume properties that allows us to recognize the reference point selected, but also to choose some different calculation method. So first option that we have is to select the calculation method, the type, or the direction. And this basically means that we can have different opportunities to create and customize our report. Depends on our needs. We can create an excavation to fill report, excavation that we have to execute, fill materials to remove, fill materials to build, surface to elevation, or elevation to surface, so two different directions. This method depends on the data that we want to create, so the report that we want to create. If it's a fill materials report, if it's an excavation, or directly the direction between the surface and elevation or elevation to surface. For example, we can select excavation to be executed. Here we can enter also the cut swell factor and the calculated weight. We can directly digit here the value for the cut swell factor, that basically is a value that depends on the terrain, or we can directly select the arrow and the software suggests us some predefined value. For example, for silt, for sand, for clay, or topsoil. This basically depends on the area on which we are calculating the surface, of course, the material of the terrain. For example, we can select silt, and then also here we can define the volume, a complete report also with a calculated weight. And again, if we know the weight of the terrain, we can directly enter the value there, or we can select the arrow and again select the predefined value for the material of the surface. Is that the same? Yes, silt and silt, just to be sure. Okay, now we already defined all the value for the volume properties. What we can do next? Simple, accept it. And here we have the details of the volume calculated, plus also a different visualization. So, for example, in detail, we have the description, of the volume calculation, so reference point. So it means that the calculation, this volume calculation, use a reference point. The point is in the point 62. Type reference point, of course we use a reference point but calculation type. Surface is the reference surface name that allows us to recognize the surface that we used. Reference point with also the reference point elevation, cut-swell factor, the weight, and the calculation type. So in that case, we use the excavation to be executed. Volume to cut, volume to fill. Let's move to the visualization. Here we have directly the result with also visualization of the surface, and in red and green, the cut and the fill for the report. If you click here on this button, you can directly move and tape on the surface and visualize in real time for that specific point the fill difference, the cut and fill difference. I can also zoom in, and here you have the result, cut difference or fill difference. Okay. Then what we can do more, of course, visualize it in 2D or on the maps, or directly create the report. Again, here we have two different possibilities to create the report. Summary report with only few information, or complete report with also all the different triangles and vertices report. Summary report, show points or not. And again, we have the same report type format, ASCII, Excel, CSV, Excel, XML, PDF document, HTML format. For example, PDF document, and again, we can save this report on the device or on cloud. Also here we can select the different cloud from X365, Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, according to also to the drive that you already have. Store in the X365 storage area, send through chat, share the file using the server, mailing, or the cloud, open with the viewer from the device. Here we have, of course, the surveyor name, the logo, volume report, all the information about the project. So in that case, DTM is the name of the project, date and time for the creation of the project, description of the volume calculation type, volume, weight, and also the fill analysis. So that means that we can easily recognize the best information, the lowest, I mean, the summary information that we want to visualize. Instead, if we select report, complete report, again, PDF, we are preparing also the report, accept. And here, as you can see, we have 15 pages with all the information about the surface, from, of course, the surface and the volume creation, with all the vertices, with also the deltas, and the cut and fill for all the different triangles. Plus, at the end, the summary value. So this is a very complete report that, in case you need to share, it is also easily to share directly with a customer or a 30 or other person, of course. Accept. Sorry. And save. Okay, and we already created the volume calculation report for the current surface. Of course, but we can do more. We can select a different volume calculation report type, and for example, by thickness, just to show you the different opportunities that we have. Surface, in that case, we need to select the reference surface for the report for the volume calculation. Surface or surface 3, so the two surfaces that we already created in the surface menu. Thickness. So here we need only to select the thickness value according to which we can create the volume calculation. For example, 1 meter. And again, what we have here, cut and swell factor, we can also enter here the the material of the terrain, and directly visualize here the data. So volume to fill, and also in 3D. And again, also share the report in case you need. Instead, we can close it, and here all the volume calculated will be directly listed in the volume calculation page. Let's move back and visualize what we already seen. Volume calculation, so how to perform the volume calculation and select, of course, the different calculation method from the reference elevation, reference point, stock and pile and pit, reference level by thickness, or surface difference. So those are the methods that we have to create the volumes directly from field. Of course, we have also the opportunity to use our Office solution, so Xpada Office Fusion, and according to which we can directly export the data stored in field directly to Office software, even from third-party software, and directly perform also there the volume calculation. Instead, from field, we have this option also to create to select the volume calculation type and the cut as well factor, and calculate weight for a terrain using a predefined value, or enter the value that we have for the terrain. This is the preview of what we already seen. So the calculation type and direction, and the cut as well factor, and this is the final visualization for the volume calculation, also the preview and the tools that we have to visualize and check directly the data in real time. So the small triangle with a arrow, and the report, from which we can also create the report in several formats. Then, how we can customize the report using, for example, headers with a surveyor name. So in that case, my name and the logo of, for example, the academy, or the logo of the company. Let's move again to the software side, back to the settings. Here, under app settings, we have report, and here we can directly enter the name, of course, or the name of the surveyor of the company, and directly enter here the logo. We can change the logo or don't use any logo. This depends on you. Or directly, for example, choose the logo from the folder. In that case, should be my site. Yeah, import. Here I have the logo. Of course, you can directly import the logo also from the cloud, or directly copy and paste the logo in the folder of the device. Accept. Now, if we move back, for example, to surface creation, sorry, view, data, report. It's okay, also a summary report. PDF documents, open with viewer. Now we have only GeoMax Academy as headers for the report without the logo. It's quite simple also to manage the customization of the report and export all the information that you want to visualize or not in the report site. Just to close with another possibility that we have here, of course, we can also create the report for the stakeout. So in that case, we stake it out only 1 point, but even using the share functionality, we enter here also the possibility to customize the report for the stakeout using a different report type, so the report type that we already visualized before, plus stakeout difference from design data to design data. So it means that we can also customize the report according to specific data. So it means that, for example, if you perform a stakeout in different days, you have also the possibility to use the range of date and export only the report for a particular day or for a particular time period. Plus also the section for the information that we want to export. We need only to click to visualize it in the report side and then accept to do preparing the report and export the report, using of course all the different functionality that we have. Okay, this is everything for today. If you have any question or suggestion, please write to our email academy@geomaxminingpositioning.com. Thanks for the participation and see you in the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.